Alrighty guys, so in today's video we're going to be doing the hardest possible content in Genshin Impact on launch, and this is going to be available to all players once you do a certain set of tasks, but I'm going to show you right now. Then the first thing that you're going to know, this place is called the Spiral Abyss. The Spiral Abyss is located yonder in the Musk Reef, but you cannot actually get there from any location. So what you have to do in order to get to the Spiral Abyss is go over here to Cape Oath. Now in Cape Oath, you'll notice that over here there is an actual portal that is in the air. You'll notice here that there is a wind torrent that is in the center of these little ghost pillars here. And what you do in order to get to all the way up to the top of the portal is take this wind torrent. But to unlock the wind torrent, it's of course a series of steps that you have to do, and I'm not going to spoil them for you because that is part of the quest. But it's pretty easy to figure out. I believe in you. You'll find it. But once you do that, you go ahead and drop into the portal here, and the portal will then take you all the way back over there to the Musk Reef. Once you've arrived at the Musk Reef, you can then walk over to the Spiral Abyss, and then go into the Spiral Abyss. So how does the Spiral Abyss work? Well, it is Angry Birds. Okay, so you know how you get stars at the end, and like you have to complete a certain way. Once you complete a certain way, you get the stars. Yeah, that's basically Angry Birds. Okay, so essentially the idea is you have to complete this with a number of challenges, and if you complete the challenges in a certain amount of time, then of course you are going to get the stars. Very simple. There are certain ones at higher difficulty levels where you actually have to prevent a center tower or the center pillar from actually taking damage. Once it does, if you protect it from taking damage, then it will of course not, you'll actually get the stars. So the towers actually have progressing difficulty here. As you can see, they get harder as you get up. They get harder and harder and harder, and eventually they become super difficult to do. Now the lower levels of the towers, you'll notice have this white dot at the bottom right here, and this white dot at the bottom signifies that it is only one team that you're going to have to use, whereas the two dots over here is going to signify that you need two full teams to use it. So if I go into this one right here and say, hey, I would like to start this mission, you can see I'm going to actually require two separate teams in order to do this. So you're going to need a roster of up to 8 characters in order to complete the entire thing. And at this point in the game, I'm at adventure rank 34 right now, and I'm struggling to get all the stars I need right now to complete this, because what I need to do is actually complete it during a certain time frame, and I'm just not clearing it fast enough because I don't have enough built out characters on both teams. So it's a little bit trickier, and I've been trying to experiment different sides and teams, maybe like trying different strategies out, but it is pretty difficult to get done. So I'm just gonna continue to push on, continue to progress in levels, etc. So if you're wondering what you get out of doing the Spiral Abyss, of course, the thing you get, of course, is Primo Gems and Mora. You're getting a total of 100 Primo Gems for every 3 stars that you do during the Spiral Abyss. And this actually translates, if you wanted to know, all the way through the earliest difficulties of the Spiral Abyss. So you can get them at all difficulty ratings here. And finally, when you get over here, you actually can get what's called the Abyss, clear floor 8, and you earn 6 Abyssal stars and permanently unlock the Abyssal Spire. The Abyssal Spire will be the next content that you can then unlock and then do stuff. But as far as early game content and what you need to clear in order to do the Abyssal Spire, it's actually walled because it's super difficult. So I'm going to go over the easiest one right now, and we're going to start going over the first floor here. I'm just going to go ahead here. As you see, pyro damage from all pyro members is actually increased by 75%, and overloaded damage is increased by 200%. Overload damage is when you synergize both a lightning and fire attack. So what I'm going to do is use lightning and fire characters on my team, like these two here, and then I'm going to use them in order to get extra damage from overload. Now, if you want to use a character like Lisa, as well as a character like Amber in order to get that done, those are 2 lightning and fire characters that you have free to play. Okay, during the Spiral Abyss, of course, you start the challenge and you have to complete it during a certain time frame. As you can see here, bam, get the things and do lots of damages. All you gotta do is the damages. And you can see it's really just about doing pyro damage, not so much, because everything is actually an electro character. So I just gotta make sure that I'm using pyro damage in order to do lots of damage to these guys. So you can basically just use one pyro character and clear the whole thing. You don't actually need a transition. If you want to just continuously use multiple pyro characters, that could work too. So you can use your ulti consistently and then just keep doing that. If you want to use hydro characters along with it, whatever, it doesn't matter too much. Basically, that's it for the floor. very, very, very easy. Now, once you've completed a floor, what happens is that you're going to need to complete the next floor. And what happens is all the HP that you currently have is now going to be transferred to the next floor. You don't get to change your team, none of that stuff. So you have all the same teams as well as all the same abilities per floor. And you can actually choose if you want to keep all of the cards for the floor or just for the chamber. So if I just turn this for the chamber, of course, this would be for chamber 2 that I'm on now, but I was on chamber 1 previously, and you're going to then only have that buff. But I'm going to go ahead and pick elemental skill damage plus 20, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the next thing. Now you can see the second challenge here is much different than the first challenge. It's going to be a very, very different experience for me. So then I'm just going to do damage to these hilly curls, and you can see they fall over like it's nothing. Now the damage difficulty right here for me is super, super low, as you can see, because I'm doing the first one. This is a very easy one that many players can do. So just know that this is very easily accessible to you, and you can do this super easily. Probably not as easily as me right now because my damage is very, very high, and I'm doing a guide for the video. So I mean, just take that into consideration. I mean, obviously, you're not going to do this when you just start the game. Okay, now if you ever want to just leave during here, what happens if you leave right now? You can actually go back to the Spiral Abyss at the floor that you were at with the match you were at. So you have to go, go about your day, whatever it may be. You can actually go back into the Spiral Abyss, and your progress from that run will be saved. You're not going to lose your progress. If you do want to continue on floor 1 at chamber 3, you can do so. Don't freak out, you're fine. However, let's go ahead and go over the hardest one that I have unlocked right now, so you can kind of see the difficulty rating. I'm not going to do the entire thing because it does take 10 minutes to complete, so I will just show you a brief experience of what is in there. So I'm just going to throw in some random characters here, so you can see the teams, just see the fight in general. Alright, as you can see, these little enemies are now level 60, and you can see the damage that they're taking is so much different than before. It is massive. You can see their HP bar is barely moving after the same hits that I was just using against the other enemies. So that's what I wanted to show you guys, is that these guys are way, way, way stronger. So just know that as you progress through the tower, it starts getting super difficult, so you might have to have just a little bit more gear and a little bit more equipment and start progressing. But it is a nice little leveling thing, so you can actually decide what you want to do for your characters and how you can practice your elemental surgery. There's no stamina requirement for this. You can actually just consistently practice here if you wanted to, in order to find yourself, see if you wanted to do for builds, and see which ones are faster, more efficient, etc. It's a nice little testing ground that you can use in order to build out efficiently. This is one of the places that I was actually I like the best in the game, because I'm able to figure out if I like a specific team build or a specific character for a specific build, and then just consistently use that character or build to try out different strategies. So it is something that you can do, and I recommend it. Now, for every one of these, because the missions are so specific to making different characters better, you do not need the characters that are required for, or the elements that are required in order to beat the stage. You can see this one here says cryo damage is actually increased by 75%, but the duration of the frozen stats is actually greatly increased. So let's go ahead and not bring a freeze character, and I'm going to show you that you can actually complete this without having any of the kind of the boosted characters. Okay, so now we're in here. Let's go ahead and just finish it out very quickly. And you can see my damage even is still very, very high on this second floor, because I'm just massively over level for it. But if you're wondering, do you need to use these freeze characters, or do you need to use these characters specifically to beat it? The answer is no. Eventually, if your character levels get high enough, you'll be totally fine. So you don't need to feel forced into building for these characters specifically. You can actually just use whatever characters that you want in order to complete the Spiral Abyss. Do not feel like you have to build a freeze character or anything like that in order to get the mission requirements. They are just there to make the fights a little bit easy for you if you do have that specific type of element built out. So you'll be completely fine if you just build out your characters normally, and eventually you'll be able to complete these things if you do not want to build that specific character out for the Spiral Abyss. To give you a point of reference where I'm at right now, I'm at 1300 attack on my official with some physical damage sets, of course. I got level 60 weapons, some artifacts that are like level 16 as well. So you can see kind of where I'm at as far as overall equipment and where you can pace to get to this certain point. I have similar other characters, so you can actually see if you get to that point on certain characters, you will have a much easier time in the Spiral Abyss. But my name is Sekapoko. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, if it was helpful, let me know in the comment section down below. And you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.